Hey, what's going on, everyone? Sorry, this is going to be a little bit different than most of my other videos, like my podcast videos for, gym stuff, fitness related things. And then, the last couple of years I've been doing some Bitcoin and investing stuff. But I've had a few friends reach out, more than I had kind of expected, that asked me about the Charlie Kirk memorial service yesterday that I went to. And it's more than just, like, a lot of people ask me about, like I've been to a couple Starship launches, and they're asking me, what that was like, the logistics of it, going to it, seeing it, what it felt like physically and things like that. Or like going to the Bitcoin conference in Vegas and Nashville, so they're asking me, what's it like meeting these people, or the talks and the expo. This was different. These are friends that are asking me sincerely what I felt from the service and what it was like, what the experience was, because a lot of people have seen it on TV, and it was incredible. So I recorded kind of a summary on my drive home, but it was a little incoherent. I was exhausted. I was physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually exhausted. I was just tired. I got all my points across, but it didn't flow very well. So I figured I'd rest a little bit. I was up for 42 hours without sleeping. I'll talk a little bit about why, because my plans didn't work out perfectly, because I knew there was gonna be a lot of people, and I had a lot of patience ready to go, but it was still testing my patience quite well. So after sleeping, cleaning, showering, which both those things were glorious, being able to sleep and shower after all that, I'm feeling a lot better. Anyway, so the first thing I'll mention is I met a couple cool people there. There's a lot of awesome people that were at this event. I met this one girl that was from California that had just recently moved to Phoenix area at the Tesla supercharger. She was also camping in her Tesla like I do. And so we started chatting. We ended up jumping in the line pretty early. I think when we got in line, there was a few hundred people. And then that's where her and I met these two kids from New Jersey. These boys, they were 18 and 22. As soon as the service got announced, they had gotten tickets and planned their Greyhound trip to come out to Arizona. And that's like a 3-day journey. They came out and had some interesting experiences from all that, but ultimately they were really motivated and focused to get out here. I think they missed connection in St. Louis, if I remember their conversation right. Yeah, I think it was St. Louis. Anyway, they had gotten an Uber or Lyft or taxi or something to go across the strait, like 300 or 400 miles, and they were talking about tipping the driver an extra $50 if they sped, so they can get up there. And I doubt Uber's ever going to get this information. I don't even know if it can work for Uber, so I won't say specifics. But it was going close to triple digits, and they got back on track. And that was pretty impressive to hear. And these kids were pretty cool kids too, and they're not isolated stories. I've met a lot of young people, at other vigils and just in everyday life that are like that. And that's something that Charlie was really focused on, was his message for young men. It was, his life's mission was about his faith, but with his work and what he did every day, he really cared about men in that age range. At schools, universities, colleges, whatever you want to call it, the wokeism, the moving to the left, the fake word about being progressive, men like that don't have the ability to speak up and question things and learn different narratives, learn different things. And that's inspired a lot of people, especially young men. So we get there, we're there. I'd have to calculate it all. I want to say it was like a total like 20 some hours. This girl from California and I, we actually left our cars at the supercharger. If you're a Tesla owner, don't get mad. We kept checking it because they were towing vehicles out of the parking lots because they were closing it all down. And I don't want to talk about security risk, but nobody messed with us while we just left it there unplugged at the supercharger. We were checking too. It never got full, so it's not like we were taking up a space that somebody else could use. And they were level 3 chargers, so there was no problem about splitting power and all that kind of problem. So we ended up leaving our Teslas there, and the plan was to go back. I was going to change, get some extra water, charge my phone for a little bit while I was there, and then come back out in the line for like the last hour or so before it opened up. But that plan went out the door because a few hours later there was 5, 10, up to 15,000 people, it looked like, before the gates even opened. So it was shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow for quite a few hours. It was hot, it was muggy, you know, people were testing their patience, it was getting stressful, you know, the claustrophobia, my goodness, it was somewhat brutal. And there's just no way. If I had fought my way through 15,000 people to get back to my car, there's no way I would have been able to get back to where I was, anywhere remotely close to that, because it was just deep people. It was a little scary because with some, you know, medical emergencies, it wasn't super easy if people needed to actually get out. And unfortunately, I'll only mention this. I kind of went on a little bit of a rant when I recorded this last night, but I don't really want to make the video about this. But Glendale PD is not very supportive of conservative events, and I'm not talking about, you know, the people that are there on the ground necessarily, the people that make the decisions, the organization, the preparations, traffic, foot traffic and car traffic, everything. It's just, it left a lot to be desired. It was very, very plain to me at the end of the day that some of that was intentional, before and exiting and after. And they're not the only ones. I mean, there's staff that was involved there. Secret Service is always on point for what they do. There's other agencies that were out there. So I'm not like placing blame. So I'm going to just leave it at that. So in other words, I basically had to wear the same sweaty, dirty clothes. I ran out of water too soon because I was planning on getting some more water back in the car. My phone battery died by the end of the day. But I mean, I'm not going to miss this event for anything in the world. So we stuck through it. And it was kind of cool hanging out with some new friends that I met there. We eventually get in. We got split up right before the gates opened up because they were trying to move some people, and I wanted to rest against the fence a little bit because my back was starting to hurt me after standing so long. I got split up from them in the Secret Service line. Now, our part of the Secret Service line on the north side got split up into 2 areas, and I was in one, and then they came in about 15 or 20 minutes later, so they were on the other side. But we were about the same distance from the actual gate, the way they were doing it. Unfortunately, in my section now, if you don't, what I'm telling you, you didn't experience at all, I understand. You weren't in this area. But if you were there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So some people had ended up moving some of the metal fencing because they were trying to cut through the line or jump ahead or whatever, and they left it that way. And for one section of one half of the Secret Service line, we didn't move for about half an hour. It was close to probably 25 minutes. And that's like 6,000 or 7,000 people just standing, not moving, while we watched people on the other side walk in almost from straight out, walk in, not even stop once, cut through the line, get up, get checked in, go into the building, and we're still standing there. That was really frustrating. Tempers flared intensely. And while I was waiting there, I counted 4 different fights. And I'm not just talking people yelling back and forth. I mean, there were fists being thrown, wanting to cause pain. It was really discouraging to see. The one that was really disheartening was this older lady. I'm gonna guess she was about 65. For whatever reason, she had enough. She wanted to move in, and she started moving some of the gates, and she tried pushing this one gentleman, this one guy, I don't know, he's in his 30s, out of the way so she could move the gate and cut in front of a couple thousand people. And he decided not to move. You know, and bless him, he had every right to do that. But she did a second attempt, got her footing, put her shoulder and her elbow into this guy's kind of back and the side of his body, and like a linebacker launched this guy, like pushed him a good 5 feet. And he decided, if you're a man, you're going to understand what I'm explaining here. If not, it may not make a lot of sense. In that split moment, we're talking less than a second, just his body language, you could tell he had an instantaneous moment where he decided this could go one of 2 ways. One, he could make her, basically punish her for acting the way she did. She wants to act like a man. If she wants to pretend she's a man, then she gets the repercussions of a man. But in that instant, he had an overflowing amount of just throwing his hands up in the air and saying whatever. And he let her move on. She moved the gate. People started screaming and yelling at her. She just kept plowing through and whatever. So it was just disheartening to see that, especially for why we were there. But it was super isolated, those incidents. They were just individuals. And, you know, after that part of the line, they were probably all people like me that had already been standing for probably 10 hours and like just waiting and being huddled in people. And, you know, the sun was about to come out. It's getting warmer, and it's just, the people were moving. It was testing everybody's patience. So it really stunk because I had spent a lot of time personally to get in line too. And in the end, everybody that I knew got in before me. So I'd gotten split, from that group, the two guys from New Jersey and that girl from California that I met. They were in the other line. They got in. They got seats. I'm like, darn, okay. I had some other mutual friends not mutual friends, different friends that were together, a group of girls that were kind of camping out, I think, at the casino just up the north. They came, I think, an hour or two later after I got there. So they'd been there quite a while too. They got in. I saw pictures of their seats. I'm like, darn. I had a friend from Tucson leave at 2 a.m. the day of the service. Mind you, I started driving up to Phoenix Saturday morning. So he leaves Sunday morning at 2, gets up to Phoenix like around 4:30 or whatever. He's in and has a seat. And I'm still standing. I haven't even got through Secret Service yet. And I'm standing, not moving. I had some family friends end up getting up from Tucson. They had got a hotel room. They didn't leave the hotel until after 5, which is after when the gates open. They all got in. Both families, all 6 of them are in. And I'm still standing in line, not even in the building. That was discouraging, but it's an experience. So that's all I'll say. That's really the only negative things from the whole event. And it was so isolated and just in our area. I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of time on that. So anyway, once I got in, that's when everything started. Everything started feeling better. Of course, there's air conditioning, there's endless water. The lines for food and drinks were an hour and a half long. It was actually pretty brutal. I ended up going to the 4th floor to get food when they opened up the 4th floor, and came back and sat down in my section, which still took a while to get through all those people, but it saved a lot of time. I ended up having half of a chicken BLT wrap, and that was like all I ate for like 22 hours or something like that. It was pretty brutal. So once I got out, I ate something and got showered and got dressed and all that stuff, and didn't clean up the car all the way. I still got my bed set up in the back. I don't know if you can see it in the video. The service itself, there was easily more than 100,000 people there. They had filled the entire football arena, and the overflow had filled the hockey arena, the Desert Diamond Casino Arena, I think is that the name of it now, whatever the jobbing.com arena used to be. And then there were still thousands of people that didn't get in that were out after that. So there was quite a few people there, but the whole service itself, in a word, was inspiring. It was really good to be there. There was a lot of politicians that spoke. Trump was there, J.D. Vance was there. There were senators there, House of Representatives members there, people just from his cabinet. But none of them really got political. Other than Trump's speech, there was no politics in any of it. And I'll tell you, all these speeches, people recounting everything, and just the whole movement, everything that was going on, I have never, like in my entire life, cried in public as often and as much as I did yesterday. It was unreal. Everybody I met, from the friends I had just met there to other people I'm sitting next to everything else that's going on, had a story, had a way that Charlie changed them and helped them. And I'm not just talking about, like people that say things like, I saw a video and this made me do this. That's all good. But these people, to their core, you could sense it, that everybody there had some kind of connection and story. And that was very moving. That was very surreal. It was inspiring. It was hard to explain. Especially Erica Kirk's last speech. That was unbelievable. To hear her speak about her husband in the way that she did. And like in the past, I've met Charlie 3 times, and so I live in Arizona. So if you're not from Arizona, other people that I know that are listening to this that are from Arizona probably have had a chance to meet him too. He did a lot of events in Arizona ever since moving the headquarters out here. So I'm not saying that it's anything special. Like the first time was just a quick, hey, I don't even remember what I said, but it was, just little niceties, the event's great. That's awesome. It's cool to meet you, all that stuff. Thanks for being here, whatever. The last 2 though, had a conversation with them, and those aren't lengthy conversations either, but my point is, it's more than just niceties. And both times he says the same type of things to me when we start talking and, ask a question, and he had the same message to me. And he if anything, he's absolutely congruent. The videos you see of him, especially any long form video where he talks at length about anything, that's how he was in person. And just hearing other people describe those moments with him and what they did, it was refreshing. And I'll kind of end on this point. Like 12 days ago when Charlie got assassinated, I have felt this intense rage ever since. And I mean, I've never been one to, I shouldn't say that never. I mean, growing up, when I was younger, I found ways to really help control this. I've rarely had the opportunity to find a position that I've been in where I can't control my emotions, where I don't, people, what I mean about that is like, you have these emotions that build up and you act out physically or maybe even just verbally against people that you love. And I haven't gotten to that point, but internally I've had this rage that I can't feel like I can help subside. I had one friend describe it as righteous indignation. That's pretty accurate. I don't know if that matches exactly, but it's something that was hard to get rid of. And after this service, it felt like I gave myself permission to not be so full of rage right now. The service, the memorial celebration, definitely was not something like I feel closure. That's definitely not what it feels like. But it just feels like I can kind of go about my life and refocus again, and not be just consumed by this nonstop. If you're in Arizona and you missed this, if you believed some of the media narratives that there was going to be violence there, or that there was going to be problems, or there was some armed guard there that was pretending to be a police officer, which turned out not to be true, whatever, for whatever reason, if you lived in Arizona and you had the opportunity and ability to go and you didn't, you missed one of this generation's lifelong moments and memories, something that I'll remember forever, something that I'll feel forever. I mean, people around the world watch this. People all over the nation watch this and were moved by it. And yes, being there was something special. But if you had an opportunity to go and you missed it, if anything like that comes up again, do whatever you can to be there. It's worth it. All the problems, all the difficulties, all the struggles in making that happen. And there were times when I thought, maybe I'll just drive home and stream it. It's worth it. Anyway, I wanted to give that kind of an update, just because I didn't want to get into that depth with everybody that was asking, that actually wants to know these kind of thoughts. So I'll get back on my track with my other podcasts after this and talk about the things that I'm trying to help other people to do. But yeah, go on, get out of here.